First tattoo I ever had was over 25 years ago. And I looked and looked for a pattern, and I found it in an art book on Chinese calligraphy. And I went to a tattooist in London named George Bone, who was in the Guinness Book of World Records as being the most tattooed man in the world. And he had a place called the Den of Skulls, and I walked in thinking I was going into massive surgery. I mean, I was petrified. And George came down and he sat me down. He said, "What do you want done?" And I showed him my picture. And he took it and made a transfer of it, put it on his arm, and he said, "What color?" I said, "Oh, I think blue." And it was literally done in 10 minutes. I said, "Is that it?" And I said, "How much is that?" And he said, "Oh, it's 10 pounds, which was the equivalent of about $12. And I said, "Are you sure you don't want more?" Because I thought that this great thing had just been done to me. And as time went on, I put the red sun behind it. And this panther, which is now pretty faded, and as Sebastian has said, I said, "Well, can you fix the panther?" He said, "I think that's just going to be one of your many stories," which is the title of his book.
Humans want to change the way they look, and I think it has to do with the stories. They want to become something. We are all on a quest to become something, and we don't know what that is. Whether it's evolution or whether it's spiritual, I think that that's part of it. When you have true tribal tattooing, which was done in an indigenous tribe, you didn't get a choice. You wanted the same tattoo, or in Maori tattooing, you get a certain part of your face done to represent a certain thing. You get older, you get another part done. You don't choose that. You get what's done to show who you are. Today we have this luxury of choice. People didn't used to get to choose things. They lived the life that they were in. Now we're getting ideas. We're choosing our future in the world and everything else, and tattooing is just part of that. Sometimes it's an accident, like you walk in and get something random. Sometimes it's very, very thought out. As far as the change in tattooing in the modern world, I think it was wise during the Industrial Revolution and so forth for people to not be too individual, because it could limit you. Nowadays, it's not about running a machine, maybe a keyboard, but your ideas, where those many stories that you have in your head, what ideas those generate, are where the money's at, or where the job is at. You can look however you want, and a big company will say, "You got $1 million idea, we'll pay you for it." Yeah. I don't really give a shit if your face is tattooed, or if you've got that thing in your nose. The Marine Corps versus the Navy versus the Army were very specific in what they got tattooed. So they're their own tribe. Then you had circus performers and so forth that were their own tribe. They've got their own symbolism, and it was a way of bonding with that group that kept you alive. And you get back in history, it becomes totally obvious. Today it's a little less obvious, but we still have little tribes. We're each our own little indigenous tribe within this modern world that we look at as, say, we're trying to say it's one culture, but it's not. It's a whole bunch of little tribes still trying to figure it out. Tattooing is a tool for us to say who we are, for us to join with different groups, and mainly for the general public to discover something like mythology. Nobody wanted to pay attention to it in school because they don't see the relevance of it. But when they get out into real life and they want to explain to themselves what's going on, they go on these little quests. Now, sometimes this is purposeful, but most of the time it's subconscious. But by the time people get a lot of tattoos, they know a lot of stuff that they would not know if it wasn't for those tattoos.
And that's the point of the needle.
That's the whole point of the needle.